Andrew Tate has just released his first interview out of jail. Now, he released the interview with the company BBC. BBC has released an interview. In today's video, we're going to be reacting to the interview, seeing what our position is on what we believe and how good of a job we think the BBC did. And we're going to see Andrew Tate's reaction to some of the questions and pretty much just go in detail. Hello, today we have a very, very interesting video. We're going to watch BBC's first interview on Andrew Tate out of jail. Now, you've probably seen some of the news on social media. You've probably seen it on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. But today we're going to give our own reaction to what we think about the questions that were asked, about Tate's reaction, and everything all together. If you guys do enjoy the video, I need you to absolutely crush the like button, subscribe to the channel if we're new, and besides that, we'll see you straight in the video. So we're also watching this on his Rumble, by the way, for you guys that are new to Rumble. It's like a second to YouTube. I'm also on Rumble as well.
You've agreed to do an interview with the BBC today.
Yep.
The material is going to be published on television, on radio, online.
Perfect.
We are doing an interview with you because you're facing some very serious allegations.
Correct.
And first thing I want to say as well is it's also the interview is being done in his home because he is on house arrest. Pretty sick setup that they actually got, to be completely honest with you. You got the cameras in the background. You have his Harambe statue. You have obviously him with his very famous pose. So everything looks pretty well. He got a nice haircut. The interviewer, Lucy, I just don't like how she looks starting off, guys, but let's get straight into it.
Rape, human trafficking.
Yep.
And also because there's a great deal of concern about the things you say and the impact that they have on young people, on women.
I don't think the concern's about the things I say. I think the concern is for the level of influence I have and the reach I have. I would argue that a lot of the things that are already out there inside of the legacy media and the matrix as a whole are far more damaging than the things I say.
It's the concern about the influence you have being a harmful influence, but let's start with the allegations.
Not necessarily a harmful influence. The fact that I'm massively influential over the youth, and I understand that.
Oh, you know what? We're actually going to, there we go.
Have you trafficked anybody?
Absolutely not.
Exploited any women for money?
Absolutely not.
But you have admitted using emotional manipulation to get women to work in the webcam industry for you.
No. Firstly, let's begin let's start at the beginning. I'm facing charges. The first one you mentioned, the rape one's already been thrown out by a judge because there's no evidence of it.
So the first one's thrown out.
Very difficult for me to sit here and have a very frank and honest conversation with you while we're in the territory of Romania about a legal case that's going on within Romania. I have to protect myself. I've agreed to do an interview with you, and I want to be as honest with you as possible. But I can't incriminate myself in any way, and I have to be very careful with what I talk about.
There are no charges yet.
Correct, there are no charges.
Has said that
there are no charges, and I've agreed to speak to you, but I have to be as honest and frank as I can while also protecting.
Oh my, guys, all right, number one, I just can't stand the way she's looking at us, all right? And by looking at us, I mean looking at Andrew Tate and looking at the audience in terms of, you know, the type of look. I don't know, she just looks like she's plotting something. And I completely understand what he means by he can't really go into detail. I mean, he does have a legal case currently going on in Romania. And like he said, he doesn't want to incriminate himself. So he can't give details off of based on some of the questions she's asking, which is pretty much trying to probe him to say yes.
Protecting myself and following my legal counsel.
So let's talk about what you've said yourself then. You have said on the website, for your original website for the Hustlers University, that you emotionally manipulated women to fall in love with you so that you could get them working in the sex industry for your financial gain.
As I said, I have to be very careful with what I say, but let's put it this way. No women are coming out against me and accusing me of doing it.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. Who?
There's testimony from the current investigation.
The one thing I will say is pretty much so she's saying, hey, you know, you said some of this stuff, which I have seen the clips myself. Andrew Tate has said some of this stuff, but you guys got to understand this type of job that he actually has is he's an entertainer, right? His job is to pretty much, you know, get everybody riled up. I believe that, you know, in terms of some of the stuff he said, he didn't say it with ill intentions. Obviously, he said it in terms of like a clickbait type of reaction to get from us as the viewers. But pretty much she's trying to use, you know, what he said as evidence to him, you know, human trafficking some people and trying to mind manipulate these women. And I just think in this situation that isn't the case, and that's not just at all. So that's why he's coming back with a, well, if that was true, why hasn't anybody came out, right? Pretty much saying, well, it really was ill intent, then why isn't anybody coming out to pursue legal legal actions against him.
The current investigation, which I cannot discuss, which I know intimately and you don't, I can tell you right now that...
Nah, he's getting upset too. Guy's getting upset.
Case file. There are 2 American women who have been caught already admitting they're lying, and then nobody else is accusing me of anything.
To begin with, it's very common in cases like this that the alleged victims do not always see themselves as victims.
Well, that's very interesting. It's actually extremely interesting, because if I was a matrix-controlled organization and my goal was to slander somebody and try and destroy their name, you're telling me that they've chosen a crime which, 1, is heinous, of course, because it damages the person's credibility, and 2, you're saying that even if everyone else involved, if you have 5 people and everyone's sitting there saying, no, nobody's hurt anybody, we like Andrew, we've all worked together, we're friends, etc.
That's not what everybody's saying.
No.
Let me read you some of the testimony from the current investigation.
Can I finish this?
One of the witnesses said...
Can I finish this?
You're not answering the question I've asked you. You're not answering the question I've asked you.
I am answering the question.
Let me read you the testimony of one of the witnesses.
You're saying the people who are involved in this, even if they say they're not victims, that they're still going to try and attack me and pretend they're victims.
They are treated as victims by...
Already off the bat, right? Obviously, Andrew Tate's placed in a very defensive position, right? Because she's going, you know, the type of questions she's already asking off the bat is questions regarding his court case, right? Regarding some of the accusations against him. And I mean, come on, to be completely honest, if you're going to interview this guy, ask him questions like, hey, what happened when you were in the jail cell? What happened, you know, what are some behind the scene things that we haven't seen in terms of you in house arrest? What are your plans after house arrest? What are you able to do? What can't you do? What are some of the things you missed doing when you were on house arrest? I mean, she's just asking the same questions that everybody's already asked. Accusations, old clips. I mean, the way this interview started, I just knew from the very beginning it wasn't going to be good because he's placed in a defensive standpoint, and it's just that same old junk all over again that they keep on trying.
The case that's ongoing, and not all of them are saying that. One of the witnesses says,
we can't go into the case. The case is open and active.
Well, let's just be clear that not all of the witnesses.
And then you have to even hear his team say, hey, you know, Lucy, hey, wake up. You can't say that.
In the case are behaving in the way you describe. And even those that are, it doesn't bar them from being treated as victims by the prosecution by the case.
We have an open criminal investigation. I am absolutely not really sure I'll be found innocent. I know the case better than you. I know it intimately and you don't. I have seen all the criminal files and the evidence against me and you haven't. I know the truth of what happened and you don't. And I'm telling you absolutely and utterly, I've never hurt anybody, that the case that's been put against me is completely and utterly fabricated, and I'm never going to be found guilty of anything. And it's very difficult for me to answer your in-depth questions because we're sitting here inside of the territory of Romania. I'm beholden to the Romanian legal system, and I'm not going to incriminate myself because you're trying to prod me. You are wrong, and we're going to have to accept that for now and talk about something else.
Let me read you then what you have said.
He's very smart with his wording. He has to be.
You have said, my job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, get her to fall in love with me to the point where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on webcam so we could become rich together.
I don't think that's what I personally said.
So here, even if he did say that, right? Because he might have even said that. I believe I heard him say that. But the point is, okay, you've already asked the question, right? What are you trying to get from this exact? Are you trying to get him to admit, you know, something that'd pop up on your headlines that he admits this, so that way they can use it in the court case against him and you know, convict him of being guilty? I mean, come on, ask some better questions. If this is journalism, right, send out your best your best journalist. I mean, I don't know, it looks like, you know, these questions may have already been pre-prepped, but I mean, bring that other guy who was standing outside with the chocolate. All right, I'm sure he would have done a way better job than what this girl is doing. To be completely honest, I'm not very fond of her. I'm not fond of the questions she's asking and the way she's making me feel as a viewer.
I don't think
that's exactly what you said.
That
just feels negative.
Once again, if any female on the planet has a problem with me, I strongly recommend her to go to the police and try and pursue me for criminal charges. It's actually very interesting that me, one of the most famous people in the world, who's been vilified by the legacy media and places all over the internet, while everyone has attacked me from every single angle, while federal agencies from multiple countries have called over 2,000 women who know me, we stand here with 0 new accusations since my arrest. 0. If you took any famous person, any man of substantial wealth, and you called 2,000 women who knew him, he'd find an ex-girlfriend is upset, somebody who wants money who's upset. They called 2,000 people who knew me and could not find a single woman to make a new complaint. The only complaints they have against me are the initial complaints.
The BBC's found one. Shut the fuck up. What the fuck is this lady? Get this lady out of here. Somebody Somebody drag out of here.
Some kind of evil predator, when actually I'd argue the fact that people who've been investigated to the level I've been investigated to, if you were to take the average man on the street and investigate his entire life for 14 months, call everyone who's ever known him, and vilify him in the media, and encourage people to come forward for money, and you try to contact every ex-girlfriend that's ever had.
Would come forward and accuse those people of rape and accuse those
people. I think that you would have a lot more.
She keeps saying accuse of rape, but that's been dropped. I mean, okay, just because somebody's accused you of something doesn't mean it's actually true, right? People make accusations all the time. People make accusations against famous people, right? They do it for attention, they do it for clout, they do it for views. So, all right, we understand. Nobody take this lady out. I don't want to look at her no more.
Well, I think you would have a lot more flack than I've got. I'm actually such a nice person that I've never had anyone come out.
The BBC has spoken to somebody since your arrest who says exactly those things, that with you, it's all manipulation. There's an ulterior.
Is this Sophie?
Everything.
Is this Sophie? Oh, it's Sophie, the fake name, no face, the story that was invented.
Wanting to please him and wanting him to be happy, that I was just kind of, yeah, okay, do whatever you want.
And what is she accused? Has she accused me of a crime, this imaginary Sophie?
She's making the point that there is.
Has she accused me of a crime?
Emotional or psychological manipulation.
I've asked you a question and I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you a question.
Correct, but you're not.
Whoa! Whoa! Sophie, relax. He's asking you a question. You're coming back saying you're asking him a question, and look how he follows up.
Boss here, because I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you the question.
Correctly, and I'm telling you.
You get to decide the answers.
No, we're equal here. I've allowed you into my house. You don't come here with a position of authority. I'm doing you the favor as legacy media, giving you relevance by speaking to you. And I'm telling you now, this Sophie, which the BBC has invented, which there's no face of, nobody knows who she is.
The BBC did not invent.
Of course not. And because you never invent anything. And she's not filed criminal charges against me. What are we talking about here? What is she saying?
We're talking about emotional manipulation into the sex industry for your financial gain.
Absolute garbage. She has not filed criminal, this person, if they exist, has not filed criminal charges against me. I welcome anybody who believes I've harmed them, male or female. Grab everybody you know and call everybody victims, even if they say they're not, and try and put you in jail. You are describing a matrix attack. You're not describing human trafficking.
I'm describing women who are going to court to accuse you of rape and human trafficking.
We will see what women go. We will see what women go to court at the end of this trial. We'll see which women go to court.
Can I finish, please?
We'll see which women go to court.
I'm describing women who are going to court to accuse you of rape and human trafficking.
Sophie hasn't gone to court. Sophie doesn't exist.
And I'm describing women who have spoken to the BBC at length.
Sophie doesn't exist.
And other media organisations about what they say is emotional manipulation and coercion. And I'm quoting back to you your own words where you describe.
They're not my words.
Coercion.
They're words you found. They're words you found on the internet. And Sophie doesn't exist.
On your
so let's move on to the next subject.
In your voice.
Move on to the next subject.
No, I think I'll stick on this one for a minute.
I mean, she has an agenda and she's following with it. I don't know. I just felt like she was very confrontational at times, at least just starting off. He's asked her to move on to subject. She said, no, I think I'll stick with it. Obviously, he understands that he's done the interview, and obviously he can blow the whole thing off and tell her, get out of here, but he's understand that this is what they're going to try to do, and he's going to make his statement on it.
There's other places in that same website where you say you get girls to fall in love with you, and they do it because they love you, because they want to do what you say. Convincing women to take part in some kind of business arrangement doesn't work long term because they're emotional. You've got to get them to fall in love with you. That's coercion, that's emotional manipulation, that's abuse.
What you've found are clips from the internet, some text from the internet, and you're going to sit here and tell me that that's the reason I should be
your website, your words.
It's not my website.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Check my website. Next.
It's the website you've taken down, and I wonder why those comments have been taken down.
No website's been taken down. My website is the same. It's been the same for a very long time.
The comments on this website, on the original website, have been taken down, and I wonder why.
You are accusing me, I'm guessing, what you're trying to say is you're accusing me, and you're trying to say that I'm guilty of the things I'm accused of, and I'm emotionally manipulating people.
I'm saying that you have said you emotionally manipulated people here for your own financial gain.
No, absolutely not.
And I'm asking you about that.
Absolutely not is the answer. I look forward to the end of this trial. I look forward to clearing my name. I look forward to the BBC and the legacy media having to say not guilty and having to tell the truth. As I've said before, the only other person who's been found, despite absolute rigorous, destructive levels of investigation and prodding into my life, is this imaginary Sophie by the BBC who doesn't exist. And if you were to find any single other man on earth and try and analyze his life forensically to the level they've done mine, you would find genuine damage to people. I don't hurt people.
It's not just...
Thousands of women have come out in my defense.
Bam! Bam!
Thousands of women come out in my defense, and as we stand right now, we have an open criminal investigation. people who are involved in the criminal investigation are saying that we're not victims of anything. Andrew's fine, he's never hurt us. You're saying, no, I have the opposite to that. I have to counter that. I have someone called Sophie with no face, a fake name, who we've invented.
It's so interesting because it's almost like we get a little bit of an insight on the case that we're not even able to see really on the outside. Obviously, a lot of the stuff he's saying so far is stuff we've already heard. We've heard the people who are apparently victims say they actually side with him. And now you're hearing there's this supposed Sophie from the BBC that's saying that she emotionally was controlled by him, and pretty much it looks like, based on what he's saying, that she doesn't exist and it's fake and that nobody has actually come up themselves. So based on what I'm seeing so far, I'm leaning more towards Andrew Tate, just because this interview, the journalist from the very beginning seems to be taking a stab at, do I think that was the best approach to go? No, but I'm not the BBC as well. Obviously, if I was my own journalist company, I would do things a little bit different.
Invented, and she's not accusing you of anything criminal. So I don't see the whole point you're trying to make here.
You say you manipulate women, they say you manipulate women. Why wouldn't people think you do?
I'm not here. Do you think I'm manipulating you?
I'm asking you about the testimony you've given on your website and the testimony women have given.
You've printed something off that you found on Reddit, and you're going to sit here and say that makes me a bad person. And I'm saying that you should know better.
That you found on Reddit? That you found on Reddit? That was a G. That was a G statement right there. I like that. Hold on, stop the freaking video. Are you guys serious? Did you really not think I wouldn't know about you not liking the video? You better like it right now before I send the BBC to your house for you to get interviewed. Yeah, I'm serious. Seriously now. Drop a like on the video, comment if you like the video, and I want you guys to also follow the Reddit page if you're new as well, so that way we can build up our following and have more and more content out to you guys. Other than that, let's get right back into the video.
Investigate the fact that
I think you should answer my questions properly.
I already have, and we should move on. She's just trying to start an argument.
It's not only about the criminal allegations.
He's getting hurt. He's getting devastated from those questions.
Children's organisations in the UK, you've got rape organisations in the UK, you've got the police naming you by name as someone who has a harmful influence on children and on women in the UK and elsewhere because of the things you say, because of the way you present gender relations, the way you say men should treat women.
That's very upsetting. And the reason that's very upsetting is because I know that's not true. I'm genuinely a good person. I believe my impact on the world is positive. In fact, if you were to read the comment section of nearly any video I post, especially by the legacy media, 95% of the population agree with me. Most people know that the things I say are...
Alright, we're just going to read the comment section real quick. These clowns, what a joke, beyond a joke, free the Tate brothers. All BBC reporters are disgusting NPCs. I'm at 341 of this video and I already can't stand this damn lady. Facts! Facts! Where was the BBC's outrage when Jimmy Savile, Rob Alls were grooming, raping, and molesting young girls for decades? They covered it up. She's pure evil. Real journalism is dead. Love you, top cheeky. Yes, I mean, the guy's facts. It's facts, exactly what he said. Everybody's supporting him in the comments.
I'm anti-drugs. I've never pushed drugs or any... I'm anti-drugs. I'm anti-violence. The UK is facing a knife crime epidemic, and they're going to sit here and say... They're going to sit here and say that I'm the most dangerous man in the UK.
You have said you're the most dangerous man in the world.
I've said I'm the most dangerous man in the world.
You've also said that a woman's intimate parts belong to her male partner. I'm glad you find that funny.
I find it funny that you're sitting here saying that I've said I'm the most dangerous man in the world, and you believe that's... When did I say that?
I'm asking if you believe it.
No, you said you're the most dangerous man in the world. Is that some kind of proof that I'm dangerous? Am I Dr. Evil now?
I remember the clip where he did say he's the most dangerous man in the world, but he didn't mean by I'm the most dangerous man in the world as in I'm going to endanger somebody. He said it as in he has power, he has influence, and that he's very, smart, and obviously he's dangerous in terms of, like, let's say the board of a chess game, right? Where he makes great actions, he makes great moves, he has great influence, he has a great circle. He's dangerous as in he can get anything he wants, as in don't challenge him. I think is more of what he was trying to say. Not I'm dangerous as in bad intent, as in I'm going to endanger somebody, I'm going to hurt somebody. And if he was really the most dangerous man in the world, then why are you sitting in the room with the most dangerous man in the world? At least you're quoting him saying that. Bam! How about that, BBC? Let's continue.
I'm telling you that it's very upsetting that you're going to sit here and that certain organizations in the world are going to try and pretend that I'm the biggest force of evil on earth when I'm genuinely a force for good. I'm genuinely a force for good. And the reason they're doing this is because of the massive influence I have over the youth, and they don't like that I'm telling the youth to think outside of the matrix and ignore things like the BBC, which come here with loaded questions and false narratives and try and paint innocent people as Guilty.
You've said women's intimate parts belong to their male partner.
I said that if a woman marries a man, she takes his last name and traditionally the man gives her away. I've been pushing traditional religious beliefs, because I'm a religious man, and traditional beliefs in regards to marriage, which everybody accepted 10 to 15 years ago.
So
that's not a crazy conspiracy theory. If you're going to sit here and say that me believing a woman should take a man's last name in marriage makes me the most dangerous man in the world, then you're just going to lose even more credibility than the BBC's already lost in the last 4 to 5 years. If that's your point, if that's your narrative you want to push,
say that
good
men
luck.
should be able to sleep with a lot of women outside marriage. That doesn't sound very religious or very conservative.
That's not what I said they should be able to. I said a lot of high-value men, a lot of rich men do it. And then we discussed at length on podcasts why rich men do it. And we also discussed why women decide to be unfaithful. It's not a gendered argument. We discussed unfaithfulness as a whole. What are the reasons and motivations for men, and what are the reasons and motivations for women? Because you have no time to actually, watch my content, because you have no time to actually watch my content at length and understand what I'm saying, you just come here.
I mean, obviously, what do you guys think of this interview? What do you think about how this interview is going so far? What are your thoughts? Do you like the lady? Do you like the way he's answering these questions? I want to know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Drop what you think so that way I can just look over it and see if I agree with you.
Questions and you answer
but I don't owe,
however you want.
This is a conversation, and I don't owe you any degree of authority over me. So let's make that clear. And that doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or from the BBC or the CNN. I'm here to answer your questions and be honest with you and do you a favor.
Great.
And I'm doing you a favor. But you come here with loaded questions. You're trying to paint a narrative of me which is negative.
I'm asking you about things you've said that people are concerned about.
And that's fine. But you're not going to sit here and say you don't answer my questions because you're not above me.
She's being an NPC, dude. She's being an NPC. Look at the way she's answering the questions. I feel like she's being an NPC. I'm literally watching the video and I'm like, wow, all right, well, won't she say, okay, I'm sorry, I understand, let's have a conversation. No, she just continues to her agenda.
This is also not supposed to be a third degree, it's supposed to be a conversation.
Absolutely.
Well, it would help if you answered the question.
I've answered every question so far.
Let me ask you another question.
Sure.
You have said that a woman's intimate parts belong to her male.
She just repeats the question.
OnlyFans, he is entitled to a cut of her income.
You are extremely, it's very confusing to me why you're going to sit here, take long format podcasts I've done, which are 3 or 4 hours long, in context where I've sat with OnlyFans girls, 10 or 15 OnlyFans girls, where we've been joking back and forth, ignore every comment and satirical comment and sarcastic comment that the females have made, and then come along and say, you said this, and you're the most evil man in the world. I don't know if you understand what sarcasm is. I don't know if you understand what sarcasm is. I don't know if you understand what context is. I don't know if you understand what satirical comments are.
So you're saying it was sarcastic?
I'm saying it was a very interesting talk show.
I mean, he's smart, right? Because the way he's answering the questions, you have to be careful, because what the BBC or any big news outlet will do is they'll edit the video, which they've done before. Not the BBC, I think it was actually Vice News. They'll edit the video to where they'll catch you, just a second where they got you, and they'll use that clip to go, go viral with it, make a statement. So he's doing a great job by answering the questions, because he's pretty much rephrasing what she's asking based on their, their proof and their evidence and what they've seen.
You haven't watched the show at length, and you should have, because the woman was saying, my man's car belongs to me because he's my man. And she was on OnlyFans. And then 20 minutes later, when she said she was on OnlyFans, I said, well, you're selling your body, that belongs to him because he's your man. And she laughed, she laughed, and she said, ha, yeah, that's probably true. If you watch the show, it will make sense. For you to come here with doing no research at all, and then say, I don't understand what I'm talking about, but I've got this piece of paper with a few things printed off. I encourage you to read the comment section on YouTube, when this goes on YouTube, and you will see that nobody believes a word you're saying.
The reason I'm asking you about these comments is because we've got the chief executive of Rape Crisis naming you individually as spreading a dangerous ideology of misogynistic rape culture.
Absolute.
It's the comments you make that are leading people to say things like
absolute garbage.
National organizations who are saying,
oh my god, I'm so sick of her questions. Her questions suck, and they're just like premeditated. It's almost what it feels like.
That are blaming you for increasing levels of misogyny. Schools that are saying they are having increased incidents of girls being attacked, of female teachers being harassed.
So because people are being attacked and people are being harassed, he's going to be the scapegoat? That doesn't make sense. Everybody's responsible for their own actions, right? Everybody has parents. It's the parents' jobs to do their best to try to keep the children in check. Even at that point, I have siblings myself. I have brothers and sisters. Sometimes we watch over them and they don't make the best decisions themselves. But is it our fault? Ultimately, we are somewhat responsible, although they are partly responsible as well. But of course, once you're below a certain age, some of that accountability falls onto the parents and peers around them. But to say it's his fault is just completely, like you said, it's garbage. It's because it's not.
It's disingenuous,
You
and
have
also,
an image of financial
it's-
success
correct.
with a Bugatti and a cigar, but it comes with a side order of misogyny.
How does having a Bugatti and a cigar come with misogyny?
Because it's all mixed together in what you teach. You teach that a woman, if a woman comes home and accuses you of cheating, you should hit her with a machete, shove her up.
Is that what I teach?
That's what you say.
No, if you actually watch the clip,
you've got
it will be
the
about the
Bugatti.
woman attacking me with a machete. As usual, you've not watched the video, taken it out of context, flipped it, and attempted to attack me with a small excerpt. Let me tell you something, Lucy. I'm sure you're a very nice person. I'm sure you're a fantastic person. But if I were to take everything you've ever said online and just take small excerpts out of context, I could make you look like a misogynist. I guarantee it. In fact, I might actually do that. And then you're going to sit here and say, oh shit, I'm a misogynist because my clips have been taken out of context. If you refuse to watch anything at length and understand it, then that's what's going to happen.
The National Police Chiefs League for Violence Against Women, the NSPCC.
Bang, 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 bang. He just fired some shots at her. He said, wait, doctor, you giving me this medicine? Well, bam, I'm going to give it right back to you.
So, just to put on the record then, you've said that you've invited us into your house.
Correct.
We're here because you're under house arrest.
Correct.
If you were free to leave, we would have negotiated a more neutral setting.
Don't you think, as the BBC, it would be very interesting to come here and discuss the fact that I was put in a dungeon for 92 days and then locked in house arrest without charge? Don't you think that's a far more interesting conversation than old YouTube snippets? Don't you think that would be interesting?
You're here under house arrest because there's an ongoing investigation into rape and human trafficking allegations against you.
Correct. I've been incarcerated without charge. And don't you think
The rape allegation is
it's been dropped?
has been incarcerated for.
Correct. So I'm incarcerated without charge, and I think that would be a far more interesting conversation. But then I guess Julian Assange is incarcerated without charge, and nobody's interested in that either. So if you actually wanted to do some genuine journalism and investigation, we could talk about the fact that an innocent man who is yet to be charged with a crime has had his liberty deprived of him. And I think that would be a far more interesting angle than talking about me being the most dangerous man in the world because I own a car.
And this question about schools being very worried about your influence.
Yeah.
Boys in primary school or boys as young as 11 are quoting you at school, attacking girls, refusing to respect female teachers.
Yeah.
Come on.
Would you like to say anything about that?
I'd like to say a lot. First things first, as I've repeatedly said, and the only reason I keep repeating it is because I'm sure this. I am a positive force for the world, and I teach children discipline. I teach the world discipline, male or female, of any age. And a lot of women listen to me as well. 40% of the people who listen to me are actually female. Secondly, I do understand with my massive influence, and I am now the one of the most influential people on the planet, that I do have to be slightly more careful with things I say.
She's fed up. She's fed up.
Some of the jokes I made 4 or 5 years ago on a YouTube channel that got 300 views, I would no longer make.
Like what?
Like the OnlyFans joke, the one you mentioned repeatedly. When she said, my man's car is my car. And then she said she did OnlyFans. And I said, what do you sell on OnlyFans? She said, my tits. And I said, well, those are your man's tits. As a joke, ha ha ha, everybody laughed. The fact that I could do that on a podcast 5 years ago and only got 300 views, now I understand I'm the most influential man on the face of the planet. I would be more careful with certain things I say. That doesn't mean the things I originally said were genuinely out to harm people.
Do you really believe you're the most influential man on the face of the planet?
I'm the most Googled person on the planet.
Do you believe you're the most influential man on the face of the planet?
I'm the most Googled man on the planet.
I think we're done.
Yep.
Wow.
Thanks, Lucy. It was enjoyable. Nice to meet you.
Wow.
No, it was fun. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Wow. Just like that? Look at him in his slippers. And we're watching this straight from his Rumble, by the way. I'm also on Rumble, by the way, if you haven't noticed it.
Nice to meet you, Lucy. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Look at this. This is where the meeting's set up. This is pretty cool. He's like, yeah, I won. I beat that interview. Few things I want to say, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to see more videos like this, I need you to absolutely crush the like button and drop down in the comment section below what your thoughts are of the video. If you want to see more stuff like this, go ahead, slam that subscribe button, and I'll have some more content out very, very soon. Subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to my Rumble page. Link will be in the description down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Lights, camera, see ya, Lucy.